Hello, hello. We are an hour late today, Brittany, and it's all
No,
my fault.
I changed the event. We can't be late
Oh,
if I change the event time.
okay. Let's go with we're an hour later than we normally do. But if you're following us on Luma, then we are at the exact right time we're supposed to be. How's that?
Yay!
We're on time. And technically, we are more on time than we are sometimes at 9 o'clock. So, hey, like,
Exactly.
by the way, Central Time. So, oh, my last 24 hours has been a little bit crazy, right? But your last 24 hours hasn't been exactly calm, cool, and collected because our first topic of today is talking about, and then we'll get into your specific, but talking about how, and I think a lot of solopreneurs, 100%, and people that have, are starting their own company, however you want to define that, people think that, oh, I just have like this big bank account that I'm living off of, or my consultancy must, be making me, tons of money to live on. And the truth is that I've had a part-time job the whole time I've been building this company while I've been in school because I can't guarantee money every month with my consultancy, right? And Brittany has had different part-time jobs, but she actually got a new one this week. But I want to talk about why it's needed, not necessarily your new job per se, but why is a part-time job as a solopreneur needed?
Yeah, and I think like for me, there's a lot of different reasons. And what I can say is, for me personally, right now, it's the stress of being the person who has to bring in the income.
Yeah.
Right. So when you own your own business, you're the salesperson, you're the marketer, you're the da 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 da. And if you can focus and if you had a bank account and you could delegate, right, and you had a team,
Mhm.
that's a whole different story. But when it's just you, it really becomes you have to make sure that you're selling your packages. You have to make sure that you have clients coming in. You've got to make sure that everything is on point and that's a lot of stress. Um,
Right. But what happens? You do all the right things.
yep.
And on, the last day of January, your client's like, oh, you know what? I can't come back in February. And now you're missing February's income that you had planned for,
Yep.
right? So now, how do you guarantee income?
Right. And that's, and so going along with that, right? Like what you're saying is it's always fluctuating. And
100%.
business in general fluctuates. Even if you have a brick and mortar, it fluctuates. If you have a food truck, you have to stay diligent in everything. You have to make sure you're booking, but weather cancels your bookings. Like all of these
Mhm.
things enhance stuff. And when you're working as an entrepreneur, and in our case, we work for other entrepreneurs. So if their income doesn't come in, they definitely can't use the expenditure of a coach, or they have to keep that for themselves. So there's these ebb and flows, and when that's what you're reliant on, until you've created the residual of groups or different things like that, it's really difficult to be able to say this is, we're here. It takes years to get to a steady base, and we all
Mhm.
know that. I mean, just to live, you need to have a good $3,000 a month on average, right?
Right. Right.
So for me, I stuttered, guys, because let's just say I am the worst at outbound. And what that means is that for me, I'm never getting like I'm not gonna never's a bad word, but because I'm not very great at the outbound and anxiety, right? You have to look at who you are as a person and what works for you. And for
Sure.
me, relying on myself to be my sole income is very difficult. And you're going to say, well, Brittany, going to a job means you have to rely on yourself. It does. But when I go work at a gas station, or I go work at a hotel, or I go work at companies that have income, people are just walking in the door, giving them money. they're going to pay my check, and that's a guaranteed check. So Walmart, McDonald's, all of those places, as much as they should be paying people more, but as much as we want to say like these are those places, they're the places that have guaranteed money. And so as long as you're a hard worker and you show up to work, you're getting a paycheck, and it doesn't
Right. And
on
there's going to be a few people that say, oh, well, any business can go out of business. Sure. I get that. Right. But Hilton's not going out of business anytime soon. Right. Marriott's not going out of business anytime soon. And so when you talk about some of these bigger brand names, that's why it's more guaranteed money. Right.
Yeah.
But I also know, like in my part-time job, if I work my hours per week, I am guaranteed that paycheck because I have a contract with them. Right. There's legal things that bind them to paying. But I think I don't know why this popped into my head when you were talking, but I think some of these conversations that you and I have are spurred because of other things people have said, right? Or things that we encounter over the week. And I've encountered quite a few people, but one was like about 2 weeks ago that was like, well, yeah, I watch a lot of Shark Tank, so I know what entrepreneurs are like. Let's repeat that for the people in the back. I watch a lot of Shark Tank, so I know what entrepreneurs are like. Okay, well, let's start here. 99% of Shark Tank is a widget, right? I developed a widget and I want you to fund my widget so I can make more widgets and sell more widgets. And I'm going to give you part of my widget money. That's what 99% of Shark Tank is, right? The rest of entrepreneurs are selling ourselves in a sense, right? We are selling our skill sets, our knowledge, our time. And that's a whole different level of being an entrepreneur. And so when you are constantly selling yourself, and that sounds like prostitution, that's not what I mean. But when you're constantly selling yourself,
but it's the
to
same
just
business.
Go somewhere, it is, right? I just so you know, if anybody's watching, and I don't know what Brittany's, I think prostitution should be legal. So we're going on now. But I think what people don't quite understand is when you're selling yourself, it's exhausting sometimes, right? I feel like I'm always explaining everything about myself, whether I want to or not, right? Why do you have coloring books? Adult coloring books or regular coloring books, right? Why do you have coloring books? Why are you not having a real job? Da, 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 da. And 98% of the time, I don't want to tell people, by the way, I do have a real job while I'm building this. I just don't want a job that's 9 to 5 because I want to build this. And I think that's the end of my thought process. But yeah.
Well, I can so let's look at this because based off of conversations, right? I help Terry with DMS Collective, and
Sure.
DMS Collective is a group to help support MLMs. And we do accountability inside of that. And they have to continuously, like inside of an MLM, you're building your team, but you're also building clientele. And so there's two parts to that business, but also you're selling a different business. So you have to sell yourself as a good team leader who can help people build and create their own income. You have to sell yourself as somebody who is the prime person of this product, and I can help you match this product to yourself. And so you have these two aspects, plus every single business, prostitution. Let's just call it prostitution, construction. I had a conversation earlier this week about somebody who wants to start a construction company, being a coach online, I was a freelance Pilates instructor. All of these things, no matter what, you have a hat of doing the service slash product, right? You have to have the service slash product. So you have to wear that hat. You have to wear the hat of sales. You have to make sure that there's outbound and inbound fluctuation, right? You have to have the marketing. Sales and marketing, two different things, guys. Two different things.
100%.
Marketing is where you show up and how you show up, whether it's inside of the local community with nonprofits, whether it's inside of social media, 20,000 different ways you can go on social media. So you've got to look at that, right? Then you have the hat of the delegator. You have to delegate to different people who are on your team so that as your business grows, it's properly structured. You have to structure your business. That's 5 hats, and I'm not listing all the things.
No.
I run Luma calendars. I have 10, Sarah. I counted them. I am an admin of 10 Luma calendars.
And if you don't know what Luma calendars are, we'll put one in.
Events.
Yeah.
But it helps people manage events, and so people can go to one spot and find all of your events. Here's the thing. I had to email them about something that if you go onto Facebook and you build an event, you can build a reoccurring event. When you edit that event, all the events in that reoccurring change automatically.
Makes sense, in my opinion.
Right. You go to
somehow I think I'm wrong, according to Luma.
To LinkedIn, and you make one event, and you try to make it reoccurring, and it actually shows up on LinkedIn as from the 1st of January to the 24th of December.
Oh.
So now it's an entire run.
Well, that's helpful. That's super helpful. I mean, that is what we all want, right? Like,
right. You go to Luma, which is definitely my favorite space to be, but right now they don't have a bulk edit like Facebook. So I make 48 when I clone one thing for the entire year because it's weekly. I have 48 that if I need to change a time or a graphic, and it's 3 to 5 minutes to make one change. So 2 hours later. So when you're looking at what does it take to wear all of these hats, part of my marketing some weeks is 2 hours inside of one change.
Well, and we're coming back to people that have entrepreneurial adventures like we do, like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that we have interacted with. We aren't going on Shark Tank. We can't. We're not going to get a person that's going to fund our entrepreneurial adventure, right? And we have to do this all on our own because we aren't going to get that $15 million buy-in to hire people.
Yeah,
we have to build it ourselves. And all those things that Brittany just listed and 29,000 more are the things that we do every day to try to build this business. And when I say this business is because we're on the Keystone Network, right? And both of us are building our own companies, and the Keystone Network it's our side gig, I guess I would call it, but I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know. We'll define that at some point.
Here's the thing. Keystone Network is the unifier.
Wow. I don't know if we just started our own superhero book or if, that's good. Okay.
It's the unifier. Even though you and I, we've been working together for 3 years. Sarah has her business. I have my business. I help her when she needs help. Mostly Brian helps her though. And then I just give feedback. And then she is definitely my, hey, Brittany, you have severe ADHD and I need you to focus and pin this down. But we help each other. And then when we started Keystone Network, it was because we saw a lack of unity. And granted, 3 years, lots of unity between Sarah and I. But Keystone Network allows us to now build a virtual office building where we have Terry, Forrest, Ferna, Dominic. We have a list of business owners who come in and are really building their businesses, but also supporting a co-op of people, a unity of people from across the world and across different businesses. So as much as Sarah and I are focused on our own businesses, the Keystone Network is flourishing because we're showing that that unity, and we have that build going out and growing. But like you said, Sarah, when you have to do all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
it's a slow burn. Sarah's getting a doctorate. She cannot focus 24 hours on one business. She cannot focus 24 hours, make her bills, not be able to work, not be able to work on the doctorate and build a business. 24 hours is not enough time. And whoever made 24 hours for a day,
Right.
the sun needs to figure it out. I need like
We
6
need
more
to move to one of those. By the way, the sun's now coming through the window, so I might have my, I don't know, halo going here. But we need to move to one of those countries that like have all day sun or something for a while, and then, but then I'd be afraid of the all day night because then I would like just sleep. Um, but yeah, it is hard. And a conversation we just had, well, you and I have been having for probably a month now, but I've had with a couple other people this last week is there's a thing that and I'm going to just say I at the moment that I'm involved in that one night a week requires like 3 hours of my time. And it has gotten beyond it just beyond for me to be able to do that, right? For me to say every Monday I'm going to participate in something from 6 to 9 when I have a family and my dissertation to work on and a business to build and a job that pays me, while this may be something that I need to build my company, I can do it in other ways that don't take 3 hours of my time every Monday night. And, and I'll use Forrest as an example too. There's the person that I just referenced doesn't understand. Forrest does. And I'll explain what I mean. So Forrest has an every Wednesday night money, God, what intentional money solutions, but that's not what he calls
It's the Hero Academy.
Hero Academy. Dude, it wasn't coming to me. So he has this every Wednesday night, but he knows that every other week I cannot attend. Right. And he asks, is this the Wednesday you can come? Right. He doesn't necessarily remember, but he doesn't hold it against me when I can't come. He'd rather me come every other week and participate and get the knowledge and do the things rather than being like, well, if you can't come every week, then you suck and don't come at all. Right. Go ahead.
But I think that is a lot of what entrepreneurship is when you go into a networking group or you go into to different types of meetings. When you go in there, there's going to be a group of people who have a set of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, just so you guys know, if there are expectations, I am not in the room. I have left. I have checked out. The second you require me to do anything, I am done. Sarah is really good at like, hey, I'm going to analyze these and see if they're working and like see if it's functional. And I'm like, nope, peace out. ADHD can't function. But Sarah, she's very good at, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see.
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah. And I'll give it a chance. Now, sometimes it works in our favor that Sarah does that because she can convince me to go back. Sometimes Brittany was right from the beginning and we should have backed out a minute ago. But then on the flip side of that, there's times where I feel very free to work inside of spaces and I volunteer for stuff because it's very free for me to work in that space. And yeah, probably free financially as well. I'm good at like, oh, let me do everything for you and not get anything in return. So Sarah's good at reeling me in on that one too. But what that means is when you walk into a space and there's expectations, you have to look at, am I personally able to take this on? Is this something that I can do? Is it convenient for my time? Is there a turnaround on this for me in my investment? Mm-hmm. Right? Because your time, your energy, all of that is an investment. And in different cases, yeah, what they are specifically helping for one purpose, one social media, one designation that is their focus and their goal. Unfortunately, we have other opportunities where we can go and we can have multiple designations,
Mhm.
multiple goals reached, and it doesn't pigeon us into this one platform or space. So you
Right.
have to look at what is the benefit here. And everybody sees benefit, everybody sees that growth, but if 3 hours on one project is not feasible on a weekly basis, it's just not feasible. And
Mm-mm.
for the fact that if you can have a conversation with those with people when you walk into those scenarios and say, "Hey, I've acknowledged that this is really good. This is what I have to offer. Is this acceptable? Can I stay in the group? Can I do it this way? Is this manageable for you?" That's a conversation to be able to be had, because here's the thing. If you don't have that conversation, then you're not allowing people to understand that there's other avenues, and that maybe all of these checks and all of these things, like, it's strenuous to different people. It's strenuous to families. It's strenuous to people who work multiple jobs. It's strenuous to people who have high depression, and if I can't succeed, I'm not gonna do it. So you're looking at what does that look like, and that helps you with what environment do you build.
Right. And I think this leads me to it's somewhat about find where you belong, and that's good. And I apologize, the sun in
That's why
Chicago
we
just
do this at 9 and not 10.
right, because it's fine. Um, but you finding where you belong, but also knowing within groups, but knowing where you belong online, right? So I have never seen any good marketing become anything for me on Facebook. Okay. So I don't utilize Facebook hardly at all anymore. But I know some people who have been extremely successful by marketing and showing up in groups and doing things on Facebook. I love LinkedIn and I've made a lot of connections and I'm going to stay on there. But my new home on the interwebs is Substack, right? I absolutely adore Substack. I found some really great ways to be my voice there. Um, and I think when you do certain things with certain groups and you're pigeonholed to doing it on LinkedIn or on Facebook or this way or that way, it turns into somebody else telling you the best way to run your business. Right. And I think that's one of the things that I got out of when you were saying, like basically following the rules or whatever. Sometimes, and I'm making a joke here, I wished you followed more rules. However, a lot of it is because you don't want somebody telling you this is how you should do your business. Right. And I did that in a list. That's why I talked staccato there. Right. And so, what are your thoughts on that? Like when somebody's telling you, and I don't mean you ask for advice. I'm saying when somebody's like, if you don't do it this way, you're basically doing it wrong.
Well, and I mean, we've had this conversation the other day. Sarah literally looked at me and she's like, "Brittany, you're not listening and you're not doing it. I can't help you anymore." And that's the truth. Because there does come a part where inside of being an entrepreneur, you have to look at what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do.
Hmm.
Um, I am a phenomenal business coach and I can help people with their outreach. Now, when I sit down to do my outreach, my anxiety gets the best of me and I flounder at it. Do I understand the purpose? Do I understand the knowledge behind it? Do I comprehend what we're trying to do? Yes. Can I legitimately coach somebody into doing it in a very successful way? Yes. Can I do it? No. And that's okay. And that's where that part-time job comes in. That's where the
Hmm.
understanding of I love my business. I will continue to run it as it is, and it hopefully with the stress off of my shoulders and different things, like hopefully we will get different stuff. But It comes along the lines of alignment, and I say the word all the time, and Sarah laughs at me all the time because she's tired of it.
Alignment
However,
and clarity, though, those two words, if people just use them way too much, and I understand they're common or buzzwords at
they're
the moment,
buzzwords, yeah.
but yeah. Anyways,
And
go ahead.
and it's one of those things where, unfortunately, for me as an accountability person and as somebody who works with people every day, I see that same, I can't do it this way because one person has told me that I have a list of 20 things. I just got done talking about in order for me to edit 48 events,
Yeah.
right? That's 2 hours. And I end up doing that probably twice a week because of shifts in. Where's Brian?
But here, let me do some free marketing for
Yeah,
myself.
do some free marketing. Um, but that's the conversation
Right.
is that we come into this space where you have to figure out what works for you and how it works best. And sometimes, honestly, delegation. If I had 500 extra dollars, Jenny's virtual assistants would be getting paid to do my
Sure.
outreach, right? Um, but that's where that second job comes in because we're
Oh yeah,
growing,
that
we're
was our original
learning.
topic, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're growing, we're learning, and we're creating a space to where the pressure isn't fully on us, but it is allowing us to pay bills and
Mhm.
to do things. Now, here's the thing, guys. I just got done. When I moved because of my business so I could do in-person work, and the contract got flipped, and I continued to work because for me, I have this weird moral obligation to the world that that includes I have no regard for myself. I just regard the people in front of me. So it was a tough situation. And then I got out of it, but I got out of it without a backup plan. So because I didn't have a backup plan, I went into something because somebody needed immediate assistance, and that immediate rent was covered. So I did that for 6 months. However, the anxiety of my rent now depends on this, and I actually put that too far ahead of myself as well, right? So when you're looking at, well, what am I going to do part time? It has to be something that works for you and you can keep your boundaries, which is the second part of what Sarah wanted to talk about. When I go work, I applied for a gas station. When I go work at that gas station, I clock in and I clock out. I'll probably get some, hey, can you cover my shifts? And as long as it's not inside of when I am required to be here for my business, I will probably take those shifts. But that is a matter of what are your boundaries and where are you going to be? And I applied with my business first, which
Sure.
is something that I struggle with. I struggle with me and my business first.
Well, and I think I'm gonna give a quick example. I'm gonna bring it back to you, and I think you'll see what I'm saying. So, an organization that I work for, or I should say, I used to work for, is looking at some rebranding, and a board member's like, "Hey, let me help." Right? My marketing team at my company would love to do this, right? And his marketing team is only marketing for that company. So when they got this like cool little nonprofit like project, they were like, heck yes, right? Like this is something new and fun and whatever. And when I see what you do when you just help people because they ask and 98% of the time you don't get paid for it, it's because you're like, well, my stuff is boring because I do it every day. Right. And it is. I mean, the sun is driving me nuts now, but you've heard me say one of the reasons I started coloring books was because HR and leadership training is freaking boring. It is 100%. What I do on a day to day basis, what an HR person does on a day to day basis is 100% boring. Okay. And so when we see the shiny toy, right? When you're like, oh, I can help somebody with their PowerPoint. That sounds fun, which we both did that this week, the same PowerPoint too, right? It's fun to try to figure out somebody else's solution, right? And yes, we both worked on the same PowerPoint and it still didn't get fixed.
I love that the answer to that PowerPoint was textbooks were the issue.
Right. Educational textbooks were the issue. Don't, this could be a tangent.
Don't judge us.
Okay. But yeah, I think having barriers too is don't go after the shiny toy as much, right? And that's a lesson everybody can do. We do it even when we're scrolling, right? You get stuck on Facebook to look at something and then you scroll for 20 minutes. It's the shiny toy. And yeah, so we're at 30 minutes. Do we want to round this out in any fashion?
Oh,
I don't know if there is a round out. I don't know. We talked.
Okay, wait. So we talked about how entrepreneurs do need second jobs at times.
Yes, yes. And don't judge them when they do. That's the other thing. Go on.
Also, don't expect them to tell you that they have a second job because perfect conversation last night. Inside of business, you have language and you have to use that same language. So I'm not telling you about my second job because I believe in my business. I'm an accountability tech specialist. So when you ask me what I do, I'm going to tell you that. Now, when you want to make plans with me and I'm not free because I'm working a second job you didn't know about, that's just because that isn't what I'm putting into the universe. I'm putting my accountability, I'm putting my business into the universe because the goal is that will become what that looks like. And I also understand that there needs to be stability in life. So really focusing on, not judging people for having multiple jobs because we all need to pay the rent and something happened 10 years ago and rent became absurd. We're
not getting into all that, but
we're not getting into that. But allow entrepreneurs to be entrepreneurs, understand that they have multiple hats and they're always changing them. So if they are a little cranky at times, who knows what projects they're on.
Right.
When you are that entrepreneur's second job, understand that they're going to be as dedicated to you as they are to their business because you are paying the bills. And I think that's one thing that we come across a lot. People don't want to hire people who have a business. People don't want to hire people who have, oh, well, you're just going to go over there. Or, I mean, a lot of times people with degrees don't get hired for lesser positions because, oh, well, you have a degree and you're just going to leave us for a better job. They don't exist. I just want to pay my bills. And if you treat me right, I'll stay with you forever.
Well, as long as possible, you get my point. And yes, I've had that happen where it's like, wait, you're getting your doctorate? Why do you want to just be an assistant? Well, because I want to be able to clock out. Right? Like I want this job to be in a box over here, right? And I do the job 100% when I'm there, but I want to clock out and come out of the box, right? Yep. Or off the path. Ooh, there, I'll just stick with my branding. I stay on the path and then I go off the path. But yeah, I think that's the key is that you have to, everybody who's building a business needs to have income. And no, we're not all going to be on Shark Tank.
No, we're not going to be on Shark Tank. We don't, I think that when you were talking about that too, Sarah, the only thing that I could think of that's like equivalent for coaches is like Better Health, like that's for therapists, right? But they have a few they have a few sites like that where you can go match with coaches.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So almost more guaranteed clients in a sense, but you're losing, I don't know what, I'm not going to say Better Health. I know one for coaches, you're losing about half your income. So whatever your hourly rate is, they get half and then you get half. So exactly. I'm not saying that about Better Health. I don't want to like call out somebody that I don't know anything about.
Right. But it is a way to it is a way to get traffic to you. It is a way to guarantee some income, but also I went to apply for one of those a while ago because somebody told me it was a great idea. And they were like, well, we need you to have a certification. And I was like, my life?
Oh no, that too. But and here's the thing, I'm gonna do a quick brag here, or a quick thing here, and it's not a brag. I did the same thing, remember?
Mhm.
And they were like, "Oh, you need a certification." I'm like, wait a second. So my degree in psychology means nothing. My master's degree in management and leadership means nothing, and me halfway through a doctorate means nothing. But a a
Month-long
6-week
program.
certificate is what you want. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
And that's where it comes into that expectation too of, well, why are you an entrepreneur? Because we watched people run businesses into the ground and treat people disrespectfully. So now we want to change the world.
Yes, 100%.
We want to change the world. We want it to be a different environment and better. Let's get off of this so Sarah doesn't have to
Yeah,
go to
and
the
we're not going to
hospital for
do.
lack of blood flow
We're not doing 10 a.m. Central Time again
ever
anytime
again.
soon.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I had to switch it. All right, so you guys know who we are. If you don't, look us up. You're following us somewhere if you're watching.
We did a great Keystone plug. If you want to be a business owner who is united with other business owners, join us. GoBrunch.com/Keystone. Always open, 24-hour co-working. So
love it.
Appreciate you guys. Hit that button. Let's start our dance.
And we're dancing. I forget I always have to hit.
1 2 1 2, need my attitude. 3 4 3 4, check my latitude.